Hello everyone, it's Fern. This isn't going to be a makeup video or singing video or a silly video really. It's going to be quite a serious video, and it's going to be a video talking about something called the freeze response. I've written quite a lot of notes, so if I'm looking down reading a lot, then that's just the way it's going to be, but I just want to get the right information across as best as I possibly can. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about something called the freeze response, and that is part of the fight and flight duo. Is actually the third one, the third response that you go to when fight and flight aren't something you can do, basically. So hopefully it'll be helpful, insightful, maybe relatable, and for those who have suffered with something like it, maybe, and you don't know, you don't exactly know what it is or what's happened to you, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm crazy, or you're thinking, is there something wrong with my hormones? Is this a medication I've taken? Then hopefully this will help you and help you understand that it's a completely natural response, depending on certain things, of course. So also it might help people, like the partners of people who have freeze responses, or it might help, maybe it just interests you. Maybe you just want to know a little bit more about it. I'm not going to be talking from a super medical position over here, because I'm not a medical person. I am just an experiencer. I am a sufferer of the freeze response, and I've had to, it's kind of had to be in place in certain situations for me. So I'm just going to explain exactly what it is first. The freeze response is part of the fight and flight duo. It's actually the third and final response when fight and flight aren't an option. For example, if someone gets hit in the face outside a pub, the person who was hit may have their fight response triggered. I actually thought it would be helpful to show you some diagrams of what's actually happening in the body and brain, of when these responses are actually triggered and so on. So hopefully you find that helpful. You can pause the video to have a good look at them. Therefore, they might punch them back, get a surge of adrenaline and anger. They may not feel as much pain, and they go into a frenzy where they say or do anything to protect themselves. People may not even clearly remember the experience, as their heart would be pumping and the rational mind may have temporarily shut down, leaving only the emotional mind to judge what to do next. So when I say that, basically, our left side of the brain is our rational brain, and the right side is our emotional brain. So when one of these, responses are triggered, our rational side of the brain, when it comes to trauma and so on, especially in the, can start to shut down or just not work as well. Whereas the emotional side of our brain is fully triggered, okay? So we act out of emotion and so on like that. So even in an argument, this response may be triggered. And when after you say, I didn't mean those things I said, that may sometimes be true. The fight response urges us to fight and fight until we are safe. So doing anything we can until the threat or perceived threat has gone away. There's probably been a few times in your lives where with your family, you have, had an argument and then ended up saying a few things that you wish you didn't say and didn't mean. Sorry about my creaky chair. So you've said, oh, I hate you, or called them every name under the sun sort of thing. And and then afterwards you've gone, I don't know why I said that. I really don't know why I said that. But I think what it is a fight response trying to get them to be quiet, shut up, to stop the threat. To stop the threat, just you want to stop what's happening to you. So you'll say anything to do that. With the fight response, it is more of a if you are attacked, you attack back. Also, if you want to know exactly what is going on in the brain, I am definitely not explaining it in a scientific way. I really, really do recommend that you read a book called The Body Keeps the Score, Brain, Mind and Body in the Healing of Trauma by Bessel van der Kolk. I don't know how to say his name. Bessel van der Kolk. I'll put it on the screen so you can see what how it's spelled and everything. And you can get it on Amazon, which is nice Always nice to know that you can get it easily and simply. Okay, so the flight response is when, say, a group of people outside a pub come and start saying they are going to hurt you. Your mind might tell you there's too many people here for me to fight alone. So the next thing I need to do is run. So again, the heart kicks up into action, you get a surge of energy, wide eyes that will dart around looking for exits, and you will run. The same thing can happen in a much less threatening situation, where your mum starts listing all the things you haven't done to help her out. You know you can't hit her or get too angry at her, so you decide to get up and leave instead. Seen many times in teenagehood. I know I did that many times. You know, I'd probably swear the house down first, you know, with the fight response, I'd be like, F you, screw you, and then I'd be like, I'm out. Then I'd dart, so yeah. But obviously, and hopefully in most situations, these situations would just be a perceived threat. Your mum nagging you isn't life-threatening, in most cases, anyway. Flight response is just get out of the situation, and so on. Okay, so the final response and the main focus of today is the freeze response. Now, this is the response that is completely involuntary, like the other responses, but this one is probably the one that carries the most misunderstanding by others and can cause shame and low self-esteem too. You'll see why I say that in a bit. So, if you're this one's a bit more sensitive. If you're in a situation where you're a child and an adult is inappropriately touching you, you may not be able to fight as you are too small. And they are an adult, so that would be really difficult. Plus, you know, you've got a lot of children learn to, you know, respect your adults, what they know best, so you don't want to fight them because that's not what you're taught to do. Or you can't run away because they'll probably catch you. They're a lot faster than you are too. So the last thing you can do is freeze, to be honest. So this is a bit like when animals play dead, but don't get caught up in the words play dead, because this is actually an involuntary thing that your body does. And if you look at this brain scan, you can see that barely any of it is lit up. This is the brain during a freeze response, and the fact that it's not lit up is showing that, like, it's inactive, basically. I also wanted to add, it shuts down like this, and because we are disassociating and depersonalizing, so we are literally going away from our bodies and minds. We're shutting down completely to self-preserve and survive. It can create temporary paralysis. You become stiff and rigid and cannot move. It can shut down the speech part of your brain, so you may not be able to speak or shout at all. It can also cause you to disassociate and depersonalize. Sufferers often feel as if they are leaving their body and can see themselves from a distance, or just simply feel as they want to disappear, shut down, and even die. This is a defense mechanism that basically tells you to do nothing until the attack or threat is over. But this is the most common response in So why I say it is misunderstood and can bring on shame is because when the average unknowing people say, well, why didn't you just say no? Or why didn't you just run away? It can make the unaware victim turn to themselves and ask the same questions and therefore blame themselves and not the attacker, telling themselves it was their fault because they should have tried harder, basically. And that's probably happened, and you probably know people that's happened to, or that might have happened to you, where people say, well, why didn't you just run away? Why didn't you just fight him off? Why didn't you just scream? Literally, your brain isn't allowing you to. It's not your fault. Yeah, realistically, it's not an option. The brain takes over and paralyzes you. So, relating this to more casual situations, anyone can suffer a freeze response. People who are asked a question and put on the spot may freeze and lose their ability to think rationally and improvise. Some people who hate public speaking may freeze on stage and no words come out. Any perceived threat can trigger a response like that, especially if your mind has had to use the freeze response for bigger threats in the past. So this leads on to the freeze response I had the other day. Hello! Sorry, I just wanted to come sit over here because I wanted to be a little bit more comfortable for this part, as my feet were getting cold, and this is obviously a bit more of an intimate discussion and I wanted to be cosy. So, the other day I wasn't feeling myself really. I was feeling a bit tired, I was feeling really dizzy, a bit depressed, I was a bit emotional. I suffer with something, well I think I suffer with, well I know I do, with something called PMDD, and I'll probably do a video about that soon as well. It's like your premenstrual process is a lot heavier and sadder and scarier and darker than the usual PMS. Anyway, so I was just having a bad day, and I expressed this to my partner. I said, yeah, I'm just not feeling great, honestly. But we were just having a discussion, and then it turned a little bit heated, and I don't really even remember why, honestly. I think it was just something really silly, something like caused by my low self-esteem at the time or something. During the end of the discussion, I was feeling a bit drained and emotional and thoughtful as well. So I was just thinking like, oh, you know, like in a really depressed way, I started to go into like a daydream almost of like pain, a daydream of sadness. And my partner had said something. He said, yeah, well, you know, I'll try and get better at that. I'll try and, you know, not do that anymore or something. And out of nowhere, I just went, good for you. And that's not like me. I know like in arguments people go, yeah, fine, whatever, good for you, okay, good, wow. You know, people can be a little passive aggressive or whatever, but I don't know why I did that though. It was like out of character for me and didn't actually feel like something I wanted to say in the moment. I didn't even really want to say anything in the moment. I just wanted to be like, okay, cool, and just wait for the feeling to pass and whatever. But instead I said, good for you. And it was so cold and so blank and like angry, like deeply angry, not like raging angry, but like that like kind of hidden like, you know, like that bubbling anger. He got up and he just went, okay. And then he went into the kitchen. And I was so surprised at myself for saying it that I felt this like anxiety just wash over my heart, like it just went whoosh. You know when you can get like, it's like a surge of it, like the hormone, like it's like it's just been injected into you. I, you know, just sat there in this position. I was just kind of like this on the sofa, like my knees up like that. And I had this bottle and I was going like that. And I was clicking the lid on and off. Just like a comfort thing. And I couldn't stop doing it. So he's in the kitchen at this point and I'm just here going, watching myself do it over and over again. I've not said a word. Anyway, I start like watching myself do that so much that I like kind of end up like just seeing the bottle lid and everything else around me was just kind of like black and sparkly, you know, when you're so focused that everything else is kind of gone. They do say in your freeze response your eyes actually open wider and you let in more vision, but in this case I wasn't quite in the freeze response yet, it was leading to it. It's confusing, and you know the brain is a interesting part of us. Well, it's the most interesting part of us, isn't it? So I'm gonna have a sip of this actually. Anyway, I'm watching it and clicking it, and then you know I start getting into this like weird thought process of like, I don't feel like myself. Am I just gonna come out of this and wake up and be like normal and be like, oh hi, and then really for an hour I've been a different person? I started getting like this weird ruminating thoughts that came at me for no reason really. I think it was just I started to feel, I felt the anxiety from what I said for saying good for you, and then started just going into weird brain like cycles. I can't explain it. It's odd. It's just what was happening. As I thought about it more, I was just like, I think I'm thinking about this to avoid what's really going on, and that is the fact that I'm stuck. Like I'm kind of freezing up here. And when I said to myself, you know, I think I'm starting to freeze up actually. Another part of my brain, so like it's not like I'm gonna say part of my brain, but I don't know what it was. It was like my voice, but in a calm tone, said, no, you're not freezing, you're just relaxing, you're just being calm. And then the voice that I like to say is me said, no, really, you're starting to freeze, you need to like do something. And every time I said that, the other part was like, no, you're fine, just relax, you don't need to worry, you don't need to worry. At this point I was holding the bottle and I realised I wasn't clicking it anymore, and I was just like still, so I was just like a statue. So I start getting anxiety, more of it, and you know, the me part of myself was saying, you need to wiggle your fingers. So I start trying to move them, but they're moving like barely moving. I don't even know if you can see that. The calm voice in my head said, don't move them, you need to stay completely still. You need to stay completely still, don't move your fingers. Every time I did try to move them, I would actually feel like I was getting more paralysed because of the anxiety of what was happening. So this goes on for a little while. The real me, like there's a real me and then there's the calm voice. The calm voice is the one telling me not to move. The real me is the one that's being a bit more frantic. Okay. You know, the frantic one's being a bit like... Oh, I'm clicking the bottle again now, sorry. Yeah, the frantic one's like, come on, you need to move, you need to get out of this, you know, come on, you can do this, get out, you know. And then the calm one's going, no, you know what the best thing to do it will be is, you know, stay completely still. You know what, you need to try and disappear. Just disappear. And it was like this weird feeling, like it was like a sedative, and it was almost as if I could disappear. It was honestly like, the more I thought about just disappear, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll just disappear. Like, okay, I just suddenly gain a superhero power, like, do you know what I mean, become invisible. It was almost as if I thought I could. And I was like, yeah, I'll just shut down. I'll shut down completely. I'll stop my heart. You know, I'll just stop my heart. And then I'll come back later. Like, it was honestly like that calm part of my brain, the calm voice was saying, shut down, disappear, come back later. You'll be alright. You'll just wake up later, it's alright, just go. And then, you know, I'm thinking about that dissociation thing and I'm like, am I trying to dissociate here? Am I going to fall into another character? Is something going to happen? I just couldn't understand what was going on because I thought myself into a weird place, basically. Anyway, the me part of my brain was going, no, you need to say help. You need to say help. Because, you know, my partner was in the kitchen. So, yeah, that's what I try and do. I think I'm going to say help, and I'm scared to say it because I'm scared to hear what my voice will sound like. And I end up just going, huh. That's all I do, but quieter than that, way quieter. I was just like, huh. And when I heard that, I felt really sad and scared and actually embarrassed. Like, the soothing voice was saying, like, what are you doing? You're being silly, that's so dramatic. You don't need to say help, you're totally fine. You just need to shut down. And my voice was saying, don't be embarrassed, it's okay, you need help right now. You're going into a freeze response, you know, you need help. So I'm in this weird battle in my mind, and I think this is the price of being an aware person, is having learned what a freeze response is, having gone through it multiple times before, you know, not for a while, but like so many times before. You know, that's how that voice could come in and be like, right, you need help, you need to do this, like the one that's called into action saying, you need to do this, you need to do that, you know. The calm voice was actually just my ego, and the ego will do anything to protect you. That is the thing that's trying to make me stay still, because it's not actually horrible, it wants to protect you, and it will do anything to protect you. My partner like leaves the kitchen and walks, you know, past me and goes into the hallway, and I'm just stuck, and I go, help, because I'm trying to say help, and he can't hear me, and I'm really panicking now, and I'm completely still. He comes back in and he goes, are you alright? And I just go, and I couldn't do any noise at all. And he went, are you just still annoyed at me? And like, my face isn't even like this though. I'm not even got wide eyes. I'm actually just like deadpan face. So it looks like I'm just annoyed at him and ignoring him, but I'm not. And he's like, yes, he goes, are you just ignoring me? And I'm like, you know, I can't talk. And then he goes, are you frozen? Because he knows all about this stuff, like, you know, through being with me and having his own brushes with it as well. And I just was like, and then like tears start rolling down my face, and I can feel my breath go, and it's coming back, but I'm like, like crying, like still, just so scared. He comes and sits down, and he just like goes behind me and just like hugs me, you know, like pulls me onto his chest sort of thing, and I'm just like, I'm stuck, and I can't talk, I'm just going, I'm stuck, you know, I'm trying to say I'm stuck, and I'm just going, and then I just start going, help, you know, and it's just like, help me, please help me, you know, but it's way less than that. You can barely understand what I'm saying at all. But actually he's just so calm. He's like, it's okay, it's gonna be alright, it's gonna be alright, okay, what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna give you a cuddle, you just need to calm down. And I'm like, okay, and I'm just trying to listen. I'm just so scared though, and I'm still completely stuck as well, like not moving at all. He says, what about the breathing exercise? So let's do, you know, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, or whatever it was. I can't remember exactly the numbers. We do different ones. So I tried that. I tried the breathing, but actually that was really difficult. Like I was like, and then I would just hold my breath, because the freeze response was going, no, don't do that, don't do the breathing thing. You don't want to come out of this yet. So I would end up holding my breath to be like more still, you know. So I was like, I started trying to say, I can't do it. And I hate being that person that goes, no, I can't, I'm too upset that I can't do it. I like to be that person that's like, okay, I'll try. Because I want to get out of a situation. I'm not a victim of it. I want to get out of it. So I couldn't get out of it. It was really difficult. I didn't like the breathing thing. It was making me stop breathing. And every time I tried to breathe, I would feel my body like kind of comatose, and just like my brain would, and like it's almost like I was going unconscious. Like I'd be like, help, to suddenly being like disappearing, just completely like dying, in fact, just gone, like. And every time, and then I'd go, you know, like trying to come back out of it. It was like coming in and out of consciousness. It was really horrible. So I said to him, I said, sit me up, and I was like, sit me up, you know, I'm trying to say it. So he sat me up, and I'm just like completely still, but he says, God, you're so stiff. You know, in my mind, I just feel numb, like my skin just feels all fuzzy and numb, and like I'm not made of skin and bones and muscle and blood. I'm made of just like a hologram that's like thick, like a thick static feeling. It's so odd, you know. But he's feeling that I'm stiff, which I am, obviously. I'm like paralysed, but he sits me up, and I say, no, I can't, you know, I'm saying it as well as I can, but I'm going, I can't do this, I can't sit up. So he lies me back down, and then I say, shake my arms. So he grabbed my arms, he started shaking him, like, and this made it worse. He was like, no, because obviously the freeze response is saying, oh my God, you're being moved around, you know, you've got to stay even more still now, this is a threat. So I said, no, you know, it felt more scary because I need to be the one controlling myself, not someone moving me, because in my triggered, traumatized mind, I'm thinking even being moved, even though I know where I am, my brain is kind of sinking into weird memories at the same time. I'm getting into weird moments of where I've had to freeze before, so I'm being triggered by a trigger, and it's just trigger after trigger after trigger. So him moving me around made me think of the situations where I have been moved around when I haven't wanted to be. And I just was like, it's my brain. I was like, it's my brain. I need to reactivate the brain. The brain needs to start. So he laid me back down again, and I just started, you know, because I've been saying some words now, very like stifled words, but I've been saying words. And I started saying, you know, I started talking about the experience. I was like, I feel numb, I can't move, this is the worst one yet, I haven't, like, this is really bad, help me, I don't know what to do, like, help, you know, that's what I was just kind of saying. And for some reason, being able to talk once again really helped me, and, you know, to be able to get across what was happening, and him just saying, it's okay, I understand, it's just, you're gonna be alright, why don't we try doing the moving the fingers again and stuff. You know, So I did that. I tried moving my hands, and I was, you know, I wasn't like this, but I would, just so you can actually see what they look like, I was like moving it so slowly, just like, and it felt like I was in thick cement. It was like I was made out of cement and buried in cement at the same time. But it's like not hardened cement, just like the thickness of when it's first poured. That's what it felt like. And yeah, I'm doing this and I'm going, yeah, it's okay. You know, I'm starting to tell myself now, like, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's good. It's just the fingers you have to worry about at the moment. You know you're in a freeze response. You know you are. It's alright. Just do it. Doesn't matter what anything else in my mind is telling me. Just do it, because you don't want to be in this anymore. It's getting annoying. It's gonna be like this all day else. And then, you know, it was mainly with this hand first. I started to, you know, turn it around really slowly, like, and so smooth. Like the way I'm doing it now is kind of like rigid, because, you know, I know I can do that, but at the time it was so smooth, and like was just turning, and it felt like I was watching. I felt like I was a sloth, basically. Okay, so I'm moving my wrist really slowly. This is a good sign, you know. I'm going, alright. You know, I'm moving, I'm going really slow, and you know, I'm feeling a little embarrassed. You know, there's a part of me that's going, oh god, this is like so annoying, and nothing's even really happened, and I just feel embarrassed by this. Which is a silly thought really to have, but again, that comes with what I was talking about earlier, that shame you get when you know, when you're told, why didn't you run, why didn't you fight, you know, and many years I said to myself, why didn't I fight, why didn't I say no, why didn't I do this, you know, not knowing what a freeze response is. But now I know what it is. I'm like, well, I know exactly why I didn't say so, because there was no, that I couldn't run and I couldn't fight, there was no way I could do that. So, but you know, you still carry those thoughts with you over the years and stuff like that. Even if you don't believe them anymore, they can pop up and you can start believing them when in a bad moment, you know. They're ingrained. I start moving, you know, my wrists, and then I say, sit me up again. So he sits me up, my cat jumps on my lap. And, you know, this was really helpful actually. And I lift my arm and I try, you know, I'm stroking the cat now. Yeah, so I was stroking the cat and that was all good. And then, you know, I start like being able to move my arms properly at this point, and I'm going like this. And I'm starting to giggle, I'm starting to go, oh, like a jellyfish. You know, I'm starting to have a laugh with it now, because you know, because I'm feeling relief. And as soon as I start doing this, I start crying again. I'm going, oh my god, that was so scary. That was so scary. And you know, going like, oh my god, what happened? I don't even understand. Like, why did that happen? You know, and anyway, so bit by bit, I start to stand up, and this whole time, oh yes, guys, this whole time I was bursting for a wee, even before this whole thing started. And at one point in that freeze response, I thought, I'm just gonna wee myself. Like, I thought, I'm just gonna do it, because I, you know, like, it's just gonna come out of me. You know, I just thought, I can't move, and I could be here all day. Luckily, I didn't do that, but when I finally stood up, but that, I'm just going to say though, that's how bad it was. That's how bad it was, where I actually considered, like, for your brain to go, yeah, you know what, I might wee myself. I might just do it. It'll be fine. You know, you have to get, you know, you have to really, like, be that desperate to, you know, get to that part in your mind. And that's what I felt like. So I stood up, and then, you know, I walked to the toilet. I felt like a toddler. It was really hard. As soon as I was on the toilet, sorry, this is hilarious, I started thinking about something completely different, and then when I went to get the toilet roll, I found my movements to be a lot clearer, and I realised, because I was thinking about something completely different, I was distracted, and therefore it gave my mind and brain a moment to not think of the threats or the scaredness anymore, so I could move more fluidly. And once I did that, I felt like, oh wow, distraction's a really, really good idea. Like, you know, like, say if I was in that situation again, maybe I'd put on a song and start thinking about the lyrics, or maybe I would just start rhyming words, or think about what I'm going to have for dinner, or tell someone that's with you to tell them a joke, or maybe just, you know, make it seem a bit more funny, like, oh, that's alright, you'll be alright in a minute, and, you know, like, want a coffee? You know, just maybe make it a bit more light-hearted. You know how like when you go to the doctors and you're having some kind of procedure done, they go, so what do you do then? What do you do for work? Oh, that seems nice. And they start talking to you so you're not thinking about what's happening. I think that's a really, really, really good idea. And next time if it happens, I'm going to make sure I try and do anything to distract myself in the moment and give myself a chance to not think about there being a threat and so on. Anyway, it did take about, in total, the main event from me very first starting the freeze to finally standing up, that whole event took half an hour. Honestly, it took half an hour, so long. And then to feel completely better and to be able to talk properly again and move properly again, that took about an hour. You know, it took quite a while to get out of it, but once I was out of it, I wasn't over emotional, apart from the relieved feeling I got when I was like, oh my god, I'm out of it, you know. After that, I just felt normal. Like, I felt normal. I wasn't like, oh my god, what happened to me? Like, I was just like, oh, that was really weird. It was almost as if I'd forgotten it straight away. Like, I just kind of was like, okay, that was weird. Yeah, okay, I just guess I'll get on with things then. Later that evening I thought of it again and I did feel a bit vulnerable and a bit sad about it and a bit scared because I was on my own at that point, so I was worried like, what if this happened to me on my own? But you know, I feel okay about it now. Like, yeah, it makes me feel sad and like so on, but I do feel okay about it, and I think that's because, you know, I got out of it and I'm actually genuinely really proud of myself, and I did say help and I did try and move and I did do all these things. I didn't freak out and be like, get an ambulance, you know. I was like, no, I can get out of this. I know what's happening. I know what it is. Yes, this is the biggest one yet, but I know what it is, and that is the main thing. So yeah, I just wanted to tell my story, and I don't know if you've ever gone through something like it, or if you know someone who's gone through something like that, or if it's just something interesting and something just new to know. But yeah, I really just wanted to talk about it, and it is a natural response. And to anyone who's in a relationship now, men, women, whoever you are, and you have been in the past, first of all, I'm so sorry, that's freaking horrible. But you know, say now you're with someone and you find it, you freeze when you get intimate, just know like that's not your fault. That's not your fault at all. And also, hopefully, if you're watching this or your partner's watching this, you'll get more of an understanding of why you do that. Maybe you have gone through something in the past, and it doesn't have to be SA or R word. It can be anything. It can be bad family life. It can be PA, you know, physical A. So it can be any type of A. I'm just going to say letters because I know that YouTube doesn't really like these words, and it's not like I'm being monetized at the moment, but in the future I might be, so I don't want to say anything that's going to mess up the system. Also, in this instance, obviously, my trigger wasn't from anything SA related. It was just from me saying good for you. But for some reason, me being out of character is what was a threat to me. It was perceived threat. Feeling out of control, feeling like I'm not myself. That's just scary to me, who's been someone as a victim of someone else's control and manipulation and power, to not have any of that power over myself in the moment. For me was threatening or scary, but it was just a perceived threat. It's not life-threatening, but it can just be that small sometimes. It could be that small. You know, you can have it from many things. So if you haven't experienced those kinds of childhood stuff and you still get the freeze thing, that's fine. That's your own thing. Like, you know, I'm just talking from my experience. But yeah, that's it really. Thought I'd just tell you the story. Thank you for watching. Hope it was helpful. Hope it was insightful. Definitely read the book, The Body Keeps the Score. Amazing, by Bessel van der Kolk, whatever he's called. It's so good, so good. Yeah, that's it. Okay, bye.